There are 546 million people on the platform right now, and that's 200 countries and a new person every 2 minutes. So if you're thinking about like, should I pay attention to this? Yes, because LinkedIn, and I always laugh because people are always like, man, that just seems like I've missed the boat. I haven't gotten in early enough. 546 million people is a lot until you realize that LinkedIn's actual goal is 3 billion people on the platform. So like, you're an early adopter at this point.
This is Digital Marketer. This week, it's Marcus Murphy.
Welcome to the Digital Marketer podcast. As always, I am Jenna.
And I'm Garrett.
And today we're going to be talking about LinkedIn.
Yes, I've been so excited to talk about LinkedIn on here.
This is a good one. And we brought the perfect person for it. His name is Marcus Murphy.
Marcus Murphy.
You know, if you're wondering why you want to use LinkedIn, isn't that just a place to post your resume and leave it? False. LinkedIn has over 500 million people.
That's
but
a
that's
lot.
not all.
They have a goal of getting everyone in the world with a job onto their platform.
Which equals to about 3 billion. So if you're wondering, is it too late for me to join LinkedIn? The answer is no. And Marcus will tell you why in just a second.
Absolutely. So who is Marcus? Well, Marcus kind of started in the sales world at a little company. You may have heard of it. It was called Yelp. Oh, Yelp. Yeah, I think I have that app on my phone. He comes to DigitalMarketer now. He's the director of monetization here and sits just a few feet away from us every day. And we have the pleasure of picking his brain on all things LinkedIn, because now Marcus sits on the LinkedIn advisory board for Sales Navigator and has his ear to the ground for all of the cool new things that LinkedIn is doing.
So how's that feather in that cap?
Marcus had a lot to say today about LinkedIn, and it was great to hear all of his insights on the platform because I learned quite a bit, just things about LinkedIn that I never knew existed. I remember the days where I just, would post, here's my job descriptions, here's a bio about me, and then I would just leave it. But LinkedIn is so much more. And LinkedIn now is really entering the world of creating tools for businesses. And Marcus tells us a lot about these tools that I didn't even know existed.
I'm so excited about that part. And I'm also excited because he comes from a sales background and he is leading our digital marketer sales team into the forefront of using conversation to sell.
Coining the term conversational selling.
Yeah. And he also talks about how to create and build your professional brand, but in a really personable, really authentic way.
Yeah.
So you're yourself, but you're just wearing a tie.
It really is cool to see how LinkedIn is changing and how it has evolved into more of like a news feed like Facebook.
The content that you create on LinkedIn doesn't have to be genius. Like, I am the genius of the world and I know everything about sales or marketing. You're going to hear in a second how Marcus created a post about ginger ale that went a little viral. So
yeah,
there's so many ways to build content and create content that people really love on LinkedIn. And I'm really excited about this conversation.
Absolutely. So without further ado, Marcus Murphy. Thank you for joining us today.
I had no choice. I'm just kidding. Man, thanks. Thanks for inviting me. I'm honored.
We're really excited to talk today all about LinkedIn, all about your experience with LinkedIn and some of the ways that people can use LinkedIn to benefit themselves and benefit their businesses as well.
Yeah.
So without, too much extra fluff, let's just jump into it.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you got involved with LinkedIn and kind of how that's evolved over the years.
Yeah, so it's my favorite topic, by the way. And flim flam is also one of my favorite things I've ever heard in my life. I've been a salesperson forever. I don't even remember when I wasn't. But in the early days of trying to get a hold of people, LinkedIn was like this tool that we're like, okay, cool. Here's all of our prospects. Here's more information about them. And it's not gated. So it's all public information. And so from that, I was like, that's the best tool ever because I can go in and I can stalk people. That's really what it was.
Right, yeah.
And then from there, it was also like exactly how everyone used it in the early days, which was basically as an online resume, right? Everybody's got it. You want to go on there, you're looking for a job or somebody's looking to poach you. That's what it was for. The big one for me is I fell in love with the ability to connect.
Yeah.
So one thing that people weren't doing well is that they weren't using it to actually build a network. They were using it because they were like, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to have this resume live on here. And it was a big joke. Like in the early days, it was a really, really big joke. In fact, like no in-mail, like how you see it today where you can message people. Nope.
Yeah.
Connections and an online resume with a picture. That's what it was.
Yeah. I remember I used it for that exact purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I did anything on the platform but update my personal profile. And that was it.
Yeah. And it was funny because I knew it was going to be revolutionary early because I saw it way before it got sexy and where people were kind of like, everybody's on here. And there are 546 million people on the platform right now.
Wow.
And that's 200 countries and a new person every 2 minutes. So if you're thinking about like, should I pay attention to this? Yes, because LinkedIn, and I always laugh because people are always like, man, that just seems like I've missed the boat. Like I haven't gotten in early enough. 546 million people is a lot until you realize that LinkedIn's actual goal is 3 billion people on the platform. So like, you're an early adopter at this point. And the fact that when I sit in arenas and I'm speaking about LinkedIn and I tell you, I'm like, raise your hand if you're on LinkedIn, and you look across the room and it's everyone, right? It's like social proof city. But then when you all of a sudden go, now how many people feel like you're using it to its full ability? And everybody's hands just go down. Everybody looks really sheepishly around at one another because we don't know, we're all on it. We don't use it. And so my kind of new mission in life is to share how I've used it and how our teams use it, and how I've seen it work really well for people.
So you've done a lot of work with LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. What's kind of the relationship that you have with them?
No, I'm just kidding. It's been great. I'll tell you, the story is a few years ago, I wrote this article called Cold Calling is Dead and Jeff Weiner is My Hero, right? Mm-hmm. Jeff Weiner is the CEO of LinkedIn. And kind of this like North Star for me and a peripheral leader, somebody that I've always thought was like a mentor, doesn't know me really well. I've definitely bumped into him and like, maybe wanted to hug him, but didn't,
Right.
I knew that at the time I was looking at that being like, man, I think there's a new way to do this whole deal. I think there's a really amazing way to do sales and we are ruining it. Like sales nobody wants to be a salesperson, but it's the number one profession in the United States of America. And everybody, hates to be sold, but loves to buy. So there's like this disparity between like, why is that? Why do I hate or feel a cringe when I get a phone call from a number I don't know? And so I'm sitting there going, okay, cold calling in a traditional sense, like mindless outreach, thoughtless outreach, where you just get a number and a name and you're just supposed to call them and strike up a conversation with them about whatever so that you can sell your crap. That's dead. That's done, right? So I wrote that article and I got probably 1,000 email messages because everybody being like, F you. Really? I was like, you did not read the article. I didn't say the phone was dead. I said your thoughtless outreach is dead. Anyway, that went viral because people at LinkedIn were reading it. And so you can watch the statistics go. And then all of a sudden, a few people read it at LinkedIn. And then Jeff read it. And then Jeff wrote on it. And Jeff has 7 million followers on LinkedIn. Wow. So it just went viral. And so I had people that were from all over the world, my friends in South Africa, my friends in Europe. And they're like, man, people are sending me your article. Like, what is this? And that was the first time we really saw the power and reach of content distribution on the site. And man, if you're thinking about, man, where do I put content? 9 billion content impressions per week in the feed, right?
That's crazy.
And here's the craziest part.
Okay.
It's being driven by 3 million people.
Wow.
So that's about a little more than 1% of the entire population. That's 9 billion impressions. So every single time that I look at their organic reach, the way that people can distribute content, like if you like it, Garrett, or if you like it, and all of a sudden it shows up now on your activity feed, very similar to like Facebook or whatever. It shows up in a feed because people are engaging with it, and it just continues to ripple. And if somebody has a really big following like a Jeff Weiner, then it just takes off and skyrockets. So that was the first time that I had an introduction to them. And then when Jeff saw that I was really out there advocating for it, people from his team flew me out to LinkedIn, which is pretty sweet. I don't even know if he knew about that, but LinkedIn, somebody at LinkedIn did. Right. And I was on a customer panel with a bunch of other, people that were way above my pay grade at that time, VPs of Oracle, sales, and like all these people. Yeah. And I'm sitting there and all of them are just like, it's all red tape and bureaucracy, right? And I'm sitting there going, man, this sounds exhausting. Like, I just want you to know that this is an incredibly powerful platform where I've learned how to connect with people where they want to connect with me. And those relationships have turned into absolutely transactional relationships, big ones, like big partnerships. But also, I just gained a ton of insight and information, and I now have a really incredible peer and colleague. And so that was the first. This is a long story, by the way. That was the first time they ever brought me in.
Yeah.
And then I went home and I was even more pumped up about LinkedIn. At the time I was working for a company called Infusionsoft. And so there's about 150 sales reps. And I came back and I'm like, everybody needs this. Like, we need this new solution called Sales Navigator. We need to do this thing. We need to really be different. And I advocated as an internal champion, and we rolled out to the entire team. And at that point, it got LinkedIn's attention pretty quick. And they're like, okay, this guy is not only just out there talking about it, but they're doing it, right? And I'm in there and I'm at Infusionsoft teaching LinkedIn and how I've been using it. And our reps are out there connecting with people, and we're seeing a higher rate in terms of like our cold outreach, right, from our SDR team. And then after that, man, they brought me back a bunch more times.
Yeah.
And then from there, I started speaking about LinkedIn, and they would give me a lot of insider information and equip me in the right way. And then most recently, and then probably about a year ago, they asked me to be on the customer advisory board, which is pretty awesome. So
that's really great.
Also weird, like being just like digital marketer in a room full of like the VP of Facebook and the VP of Oracle or the VP of Salesforce and like all these big companies. And I'm just like listening to them talk, again, exhausted by how crazy it is. And then most recently, I was invited to be a faculty member on LinkedIn Learning. So I'm going to be teaching LinkedIn on LinkedIn's learning platform to its people, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, so that relationship's been fantastic. It's also been one that's really kind of led me here in my career because I put my, flag in the sand early on what kind of sales we were going to be doing at this company. And so far, so good.
You mentioned the term Sales Navigator.
Yeah.
Can you kind of dive into that, what that means?
Yeah, absolutely. So LinkedIn, first of all, has a bunch of really great free tools. Most of it is just optimizing your profile and making sure that there's a bunch of different points that you hit to make sure that you're optimized and ready to mingle, right? Then once you do that, there are paid solutions, and one of them is a sales tool called Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is like a staple now. I mean, early days, no one knew what it was. Now, if you're a salesperson and you don't have it, you're kind of like the black sheep in the group. Essentially, it's kind of like a very small splinter of a CRM for a salesperson. So when you're on LinkedIn, you can find contacts, you can do searches. I mean, if you do Facebook ads, you run traffic at all from anybody on the marketing side, it looks very similar. You can target, you can really dial it in. You can say, I want to see agencies in Texas, in Austin, who are directors, VPs, who are owners and co-founders in their title. And It narrows it down to that audience. And then you can go in and see all of them. You can save them all as leads. You can send messages to them, because on LinkedIn, the one thing that they've been great about is that you have to be connected to somebody to send a message, right?
Yeah.
Well, in LinkedIn Navigator, you get credits to send in-mail messages to them. So you don't have to be connected to them to send a prospecting email, or not email, but an in-mail. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and that in itself was like the selling point for me as a salesperson, was like, I can send a message to somebody I'm not connected to on LinkedIn, score, perfect. But now it's gotten really sophisticated. You can save them as a lead. And if you save them as a lead in the feed in Sales Navigator, when you come in every morning, you will see their activity. And then it also aggregates like, this person logged in the last 90 days. This person got a promotion in the last 90 days. They're giving you points for you to start a conversation.
Yeah.
Right? And now if they show me like, this person shared an article, I can go right on that article. Be like, this is fantastic. Thank you so much. And like it. And they see that, I'll share it. And now when I go and send them a message, it's like, hey, I really like that article that you put up there. And they look in, they see, oh, you commented on it, right? So there's a higher probability that they're going to start a conversation or at least get back to you in an email. So yeah, Navigator's huge. It's an amazing tool.
So you could use Sales Navigator for more than just sales.
Oh yeah. I think Sales Navigator is actually a really great way if you're trying to reach out to anyone. You're trying to, like, it's funny, Jenna uses it, and you're actually kind of a salesperson, by the way, because
I know, it's crazy.
Isn't it
I'm
weird?
I'm terrible at the idea of selling. You would think I would be terrible.
Yeah. Well, most people think they're really bad at selling, but you're hyper relational. And so anybody in that role who's trying to connect with people, it expedites the process, right? Because if she was out there on LinkedIn just looking for people, she'd have to connect with them, send them a 300 character message in the connection, and like wait on them. And hopefully this will allow you to write much more detail and tell them exactly why you want to reach out to them, what the end game is, and then you can save them as a lead. So now you can see every day what they do, which prompts you to try to re-engage them. And you don't have to be a salesperson to do that.
I've been looking for a mentor. And I've been trying to find
that'd
somebody
be
like
perfect.
way out of my network, somebody that, I don't know personally.
So I am happy you said that. I feel like I just like fed that to you because
Really?
LinkedIn just launched a mentorship section of LinkedIn.
Oh, no
So
kidding.
on your profile now, paid or non-paid, you have a section that says I'm open to mentorship and here's the people I want to mentor. And now you have your own like mentor inbox essentially on LinkedIn. So you can scroll through those people that you're like, man, I really need these kind of tertiary people that are way outside of my network, but I need a really good mentor. And you can look at their LinkedIn page now and see if they're open to it. And then you can, if they are, you just click on it and you send and submit a formal request for mentor,ship. And it's,
Wow.
and that's incredible,
so
right?
great.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Well, I know what my day is looking like today.
Mentor. It's funny because mentorship is incredibly overlooked. And if you talk to anybody who's successful, they'll always give you kind of a cliche thing like, yeah, just surround yourself with good people. Like you really, really need to find people that you're keeping close to. You ever heard that quote, the 5 closest people to you are a reflection of who you are as an individual, which is kind of scary. Like in college, I would have been like, yep, this is pretty accurate. I'm in a gutter right now. And so are they. But now as I've moved like through different seasons of my professional life, I've seen that has been incredibly effective to understand like mentorship. People that you surround yourself really do kind of either catapult you or hold you back. And, having this mentor button or function was something that just blew my mind. They also are launching an official mentor app on LinkedIn and have been lobbying for a friend of mine who owns the domain mentor.com to try and get that as well. So they're all in on this idea that, it's going to take mentorship and keeping people. It's a play. Think about this. If you have a professional platform with, almost 600 million people on it, mentorship is the next best step because it's what happened in the early days to get them away from that, like, man, this is just an online resume site, was really try to be like, how do we keep people coming back to the platform every day and logging in and using it? And that's when like articles was launched. That's when all the content pieces, they're trying to launch more opportunities. So mentorship is another way to be like, I not only have a really great presence on there and get a lot of knowledge and a lot of content, I also use this platform to find people that are going to help me in my career. Like that is another, it just becomes more and more valuable every time that they do something like that.
So a lot of the people that will be listening are people who, although they are selling, they don't have a sales team.
Yeah.
They're solopreneurs or marketers that they don't have the tools.
Right.
So do you have any best practices for being out there kind of on your own in the water?
I think for anybody who's listening who doesn't have like a full sales team and is like, man, how do I really utilize LinkedIn? The first part is optimizing everything that you can. We're actually getting ready to launch, and this is not a plug, but we're getting ready to launch kind of our LinkedIn full day workshop, which I'm pretty excited about.
Woo!
Yeah. And it's going to be specifically like optimizing everything you can before you ever use any paid features on LinkedIn. You really need to. It's like having a really crappy website, but then running ads to it. It's like,
it just doesn't work.
It doesn't make any sense. It's like, man, those ads were great. And I got here and it's like a dumpster fire. Like nobody wants that. But the same thing with, if you're a salesperson, the best thing you can do is fully optimizing your profile, making it stand out. And there's a few, like, I'll just give you 3 things right now. The first thing you can do, actually, let's take a step back. Have a good profile photo. I know.
Yeah.
Make sure that it's recent and that it looks like you, okay? Because I don't know, have you ever showed up to a meeting where you like saw somebody who that just super catfished you, right?
Oh,
yeah. Like, wait a minute here, Jim. Your picture of you was like 1932, it must have been.
It's like the age-old tale of, showing up to a date off of an online dating profile and it's just not the same person.
Yeah, exactly. Swipe. I don't know what way. We're swiping over. I don't know what we're doing these days. But one thing that I always tell people about that kind of rule of thumb with your profile photo, it needs to take about 60% of the frame. So when you look at the LinkedIn page right now, it's a circle and it has your face in it. It also is really good to make sure that it is your face. A lot of people have, they're like, I'm outdoor oriented. So they show this really cool adventurer photo where they're like jumping on rocks in the distance. It's like, nobody knows that's you. You need to create trust quickly. So a good photo where you're not mean mugging the camera and you're like somewhat approachable, and who you're trying to connect with, it's appropriate for what you wear. People always like, what do I wear in it? And it's like, you know what? Like for me, I work in tech, right? I work in this space. So I got like a vest on and I don't know, like it's very it's like dad chic is kind of what I was going for, and but people do ask me that. But there are people that are like, I only work with plastic surgeons, and that's a pretty buttoned up industry. So having a jacket on with like a nice crisp white shirt is totally great, and that makes sense for who you're trying to connect with. So that's something to keep in mind with the photo.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one is that there is a summary section. It's 2,000 characters. And I think a lot of people make a huge mistake with it because they'll just go and put bullet points of all the things they've done. That is what the rest of your LinkedIn profile is for.
Mm-hmm.
Your experience section is where you should put that. Right now, mine has a story about my mission in life is to kind of take back the sales stigma that has just surrounded that industry for so long. And I said, and I tell this kind of like engaging, likable story about how when I was a kid, I never wanted to be a salesperson. I didn't like ask for sales training for Christmas, right? Like that wasn't even on my radar. But as I start to work my way down in this and I tell this narrative, I also put a really strong CTA at the end, like, who wants to join me in this? And I've gotten countless messages from people like, I want to.
Yep, raising their hands.
Yeah, hey man, amen to your summary. I just want to connect with you because I totally agree. And I loved reading through your summary and it was really funny and engaging. So you have 2,000 characters, which is also searchable. So you can optimize for SEO and people can write in a narrative format so that people really get what they're. And here's the third thing. The third thing is that LinkedIn a year ago made it possible for you to add media to not only your summary, but every single piece of experience that you have. So if it's like digital marketer experience, I'm writing in a narrative format again about what I do. And at the bottom, I'm adding every picture that I can think of that tells the story of who I am and what I did there. And now you can actually add video in there too. So inside of your summary, inside of your experience, you can add a video. And like I put our We Believe video from DigitalMarketer because it's like that, what doesn't tell a better story about who we are?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those three things. So like the photo is the first thing people see. The summary really tells the story. Adding rich media keeps people on the page longer. And not everybody wants to read. I wish I could say that everybody in America reads all the time, but really they don't learn that way. I listen to podcasts on my way into work. I love looking at pictures on Instagram. Like this is kind of where we are right now. And so having those three things kind of optimized will help people. And once you get fully optimized is when I would go, you still need to probably get Navigator or you still need to be able to run self-serve advertisement in the campaign builder if you're a marketer. Right. And you don't need a team for that.
So one thing that I really am excited to talk to you about is LinkedIn video.
Yeah.
But before we jump into that, while we're on the topic of the profiles, I want to talk about endorsements. Endorsements are a really big section of a LinkedIn profile that I look at when I'm looking at candidates to hire or anything like that. So
why is it important?
Yeah, why are endorsements important and how can you build up your endorsements in a not a spammy type way?
The endorsement section is important because it's other people telling you how great you are, not you telling everyone how great you are. Right. And that goes a really long way when you are looking at people who want to hire, right? I know that like mine right now, if you go there, it's leadership, management, and public speaking, and they're maxed out, right? And what that maxed out part means is that it will only show the world 99 plus.
Right.
It could be 101 or it could be 1 million, right? It's not going to be 1 million. I don't know who you are. Maybe you're like Ryan Dice or Gary Vaynerchuk or somebody. Like, that's fine. But in this case, it only shows the 3. So people have multiple endorsements. In fact, my friend used to make fun of me. Like he used to go put trash collection as one of mine. And he would try and get it to start getting to the top of the thing. But you have a lot more and you have control over that. So how you can do that is like, let's say that Jenna's like, you know what? I really am good at sales and I want everyone to know and endorse me for sales.
Yeah.
So what I do is right now I can go in and there's a little pencil next to that section called endorsements. Every single thing that you're going to edit on your profile has a little pencil next to it. So you know that that's where you want to click. When you click on the endorsement side with the little pencil, the drop down comes in place and you can see here are the 3 that are currently showing. Here are all the other ones. And here's how many times people have clicked and endorsed that. Or you can create your own and go, I actually want to be endorsed for this. So maybe sales wasn't in Jenna's profile, but she can click sales and then now make it a part of her top 3. And then now that's what people see as they scroll through the page. So if you are kind of going, man, I really want this to be built up. I want people to know this. Then it has to be in that top 3 or else it's just not going to make it in there. And then this is kind of crazy because we're not all self-promoters. Okay. It is actually, it's okay to ask. It's okay to ask when it's applicable. Mm-hmm. And now what they've done, if you're on your mobile phone, on your desktop, it doesn't do this, but on your mobile phone, if you're going to endorse someone, it asks 2 additional questions now. Like, was it a 1-star, 2-star, or 3-star endorsement? And did you work with them directly, indirectly? Like,
wow.
Yeah. So
that's
but that's good. That's a really good thing
good.
because they're collecting information and a couple extra steps just makes it more legitimate. And it isn't more legitimate because they went through the steps. It's more legitimate that the entire population sees that's the process because endorsements can lose its credibility pretty quickly if it's just like, I asked 100 people in my office to endorse me in sales and they all did. I actually look through. So when you're looking through and you're trying to hire somebody, look at that endorsement section and look at the people.
Yeah.
If there's diversity in the people, and they're from a bunch of different companies, that's perfect, right? And then it just happens. LinkedIn does a really good job of educating its people on what actions they should take on people's profiles. And if you want really great endorsements, the hack is endorse other people.
Yeah.
Go endorse the people that you really care about, that you admire, that you would love if they endorsed you. And kind of the reciprocity there is that they will go back and endorse you as well. Yeah.
I just got endorsed yesterday by someone here in the office, and I went up, did the old finger guns to him. It was like, thanks for the endorsement. And he's like, legend has it that what goes around comes around. And so just hitting right on that point right there.
That is good. I'm using that. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah. Legend has
one of the, kind of going back to what we talked about just a second ago, one of the biggest things that I'm excited to talk to you about is LinkedIn video.
Yep.
And LinkedIn video, I don't know the nuts and bolts behind it, but from what I see in my feed, it's huge and it's everywhere now.
Yep.
So what has kind of been, I guess, the evolution of LinkedIn video, and what is the best way to use LinkedIn video?
Yeah, so let me give you a little background about the video part. So if LinkedIn's whole MO is to keep everybody on the site for long periods of time, clicking off to Wistia or YouTube is not it, right?
Yep.
So native video was always in that production line. They didn't know how powerful it was going to be, or if they wanted to really use it because they didn't want cat video city and like all these weird like people showing videos that, there's not a lot of control over that. Now, obviously it's community source. So if somebody thinks it's inappropriate, they just click it and it's gone. Mm-hmm. What happened, to everyone's surprise, is that all these videos have been incredibly professional.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're scrolling through your feed, it's rare that you don't find something that's useful or something that has a professional context. And I'll tell you, the reason why that is because this is a professional platform. Like if you have a professional box, you usually put professional stuff in it, right? Yep. If you have a briefcase, you don't put your banana, or sometimes maybe people put like the bananas in there. I don't know.
Hey,
that was a terrible example.
I do have a banana briefcase, but I keep that separate.
So I think that people surprised LinkedIn with how much they use it in the right way. And now you could start to see that the best things like product demos are incredible on there. Man on the street interviews are really incredible. Like a lot of people love just somebody who flips on their camera on their phone and just like says, man, this just came to me. I have people that I follow who I love and they're just like, hey, I'm an idiot. Here's what just happened. And it's great because it's like a quick consumable video, like 30 seconds of information. And then there's longer stuff on there. But I'll tell you, the longer stuff for the video isn't, I've seen the stats. It's not unbelievable in terms of consumption because people are not, they're in their feed. They're kind of on the move, or they're on their phone, or they're working and they want like quick little pieces of information. And then something that might link off to a longer video somewhere where they can go. That totally works. So yeah, I think there's a lot of really exciting things coming down the road with video. I think the filters on there are really cool. I think those are only going to get better. And I think the geo stuff is going to get better. And then you're going to start to see live videos. I think that's going to be the coolest thing. Like you went live on LinkedIn. And I think you're going to see a lot more shows on there and more curated content, especially now that business pages have video.
Yeah.
And that we rolled out, we got it early. So I feel like that was pretty cool.
It was cool.
But
it is cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I think there's a big difference between, and we'll get into this, I'm sure, but a personal presence and a professional presence, like a business page and a personal profile. They're very different. And I think video in both of those is very much how a company positions itself with video and how a person positions themselves with video is very different and should be. So yeah, video's it, and it's only going to get better.
What's the best way for people to use LinkedIn for their business? I use LinkedIn for our business profile.
Yep.
But we also have a lot of very smart people here who use LinkedIn to promote their own brand, but also promote the Digital Marketer brand.
Sure.
So what is kind of the breakdown of using LinkedIn for beefing up your business presence?
Yeah, so you have to have a personal presence before you have a business page. In fact, it's a requirement that somebody has to have a personal profile to have a business page, right? And there's a reason why the business page is powerful. One, if I look for people's businesses online, and it's a nice place for credibility, but it also, if you look at, like, I don't know if everybody here right now has DigitalMarketer as their company on LinkedIn on your personal profile. And I always say that's like, not to overlook that, but every single person at your company now becomes a part of your brand and an extension of it. So when they put that on their page, everyone can click there, right? So that's humongous in the sense of like, here's credibility, make sure all of your people are representing your company well, and you're going to see like what they're writing and everything else. Like, especially like when things go viral, when I write them, not that everything goes viral, but there are a lot of things that go pretty far when like the dumbest post went viral. Just recently, like I was on a plane coming back from I don't know where, and I was sitting there drinking ginger ale, and I'm like, man, I don't drink this anywhere else. I really don't. I don't keep it in my refrigerator. I don't eat hot dogs unless I'm at like a sporting event, and I don't keep those in my refrigerator. At least I won't admit it on here. And what I think is interesting about that is I put that up, and I was like, man, any other business like road warriors out there that just do that? Am I like alone? And I was not alone.
No.
It had 50,000 views on that post, and people were writing. I mean, just all this stuff. People were like, "Yeah, man, I drink Bloody Mary mix, no alcohol on the plane." I'm like, "Sodium, no fun." Like, what are you doing, right? But we do weird stuff, and I was like trying to get to the bottom. I was like in this black hole of trying to figure out why I drink ginger ale on the plane and why other people do it too. And the only thing I got back to, the only solution that came back that was remotely made any sense, is that when we were young, we would drink ginger ale, like when you had a stomach ache, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you thought it was kind of fancy because you got your own little cup on the plane with some ice, and it looked like you're kind of an adult and you had a little thing in it. The only thing I thought was like it was this nostalgic way of comforting. And so if you're kind of an anxious person, or you're like I'm incredibly anxious, right? And you're on an airplane, there's a comfort factor to it that I kept finding as like this thing that people were saying. So anyway, that makes sense. But what I'm saying is sometimes like hit or miss, and that was ridiculous. I didn't think, I was just like, two people are going to be like, oh yeah, I'm weird too. But no, it ended up being like this massive thing. So yeah, I think the personal page, you got to have it to do the business part. The business page though, outside of just everybody being an extension of your brand, it also is an opportunity to take and share your best content. But and here's the big difference between a personal page is that you can't boost it or promote it.
Right.
So on your personal page, if you wrote something great like that stupid post, but even though it got a ton of engagement, and I was sitting there going like, man, I just want to boost this. This is so good. I can't do that. And when you have a business page, you have to have a business page to use the campaign builder within the platform for the marketing side. And when you're sharing out good content that people are engaging with organically, that's the key. Boost your organic content that does really well. People just try and put something on there and boost it. That's not what happens. When you see that people are engaging with something organically, and everybody has their own benchmark. Somebody get 10 likes, 1 share, like whatever it is for you, you can share that content. And actually, content is the best use because you have a few different pieces like on the self-serve side. So you can have boosted content. You can have, the in-mail messages that you can do, which are sponsored in-mail message, which the caveat there, which this too, which is it's not an immediate push out to everybody. It's a slow roll, right? Yeah. A lot of people need to know that because if you're sitting there going like, yeah, I'm just going to send 1,000 in-mail messages out to these targeted people, that's not going to work.
Not going to happen.
LinkedIn won't let that happen. They're going to slow roll it out as if it's like organic, right? And they have their reasoning. I get it. But literally the highest leverage thing you can do is sponsor or boost a post. That is fantastic. Especially if it's a really good piece of content, or if it's a post that has a link in it to the blog, that's also been done really, really well. And I've seen just thousands of people because it just shows up in people's feeds over and over and over again. And people engage with it, especially if it's good. Like, I can't tell you how many times people are like, man, this just doesn't work. And I look at their content and I'm like, this sucks. Like this content's not good. Who are you trying to target with this? You understand that what works really well on LinkedIn is people want to engage with it. They want it to be a little bit evocative. They want to be like something like the cold calling is dead, right? Like that content went so far because everybody had an opinion about it. So when you're sitting there and you're on your business page and you're thinking about, man, I want to put up this photo. I want to put up this graphic. I want to put up this blog post. I have an opinion about this thing, or I want to pose a question. Those are all great things to boost if organically people are engaging with it.
Yeah. You can't force people to like something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Especially if it shows up and there's nobody that's engaged with it. Because what happens is like it literally takes that exact post that you had with whatever engagement was. So if I would have wrote that article on Digital Marketers, and we would have shared that article, the people would have seen 40,000 people commented on it, and there were 813 shares. They would have saw that, and then that being boosted, oh my gosh, it'll go bananas. Like that's how people want to engage with something that's popular. So LinkedIn acquired Pulse early on. That was like why they have an article section where you can just go right to your feed right now and start an article. But Pulse was big because it would show popular content at the top of your feed. So when you log into Pulse, you'd be like, I want to see posts about marketing and sales and whatever. And you could pick and curate what you see. And then the most popular engaged ones would show up at the top. And so everybody would be like, okay, I'm going to write on that because I see that this is like a big conversation and I want to be in here and I want to talk. Same thing with content and how they boost it on the business page.
What do you think is the biggest thing for LinkedIn in the future, in the years to come? What is the next big thing for LinkedIn that you're kind of predicting?
I think LinkedIn will get to their goal.
Okay.
which is scary to say that you know what 3 billion people on LinkedIn looks like, right? That's everybody who is employed having a LinkedIn page. That's their goal. I think they're going to relentlessly go toward that. I also think that because of the acquisition with Microsoft bought LinkedIn about a year and a half ago now. Wow, it's kind of crazy how long ago that was. Maybe it was about a year ago. But if you know Microsoft, you know it's big data. And I think that one thing that you're going to start to see is a kind of a, hey, I'm going to come to LinkedIn. And all of a sudden now I think that they're going to start giving you, I see future things in sales like them creating their own CRM. I'm just throwing things out, by the way. This is like, don't like,
this is crystal ball.
Yeah, exactly. Like super things that I would want and I would love to see. I think that they would be really silly not to take one additional step further and have more functionality and create literally a CRM where people can just stay there or it's connected. They're already doing. I mean, Navigator now connects with HubSpot. It connects with Salesforce. It has a really cool API key that you can start to pull information out. I think that's a big one. I also think you're going to see a kind of a resurgence. There's 2 billion millennials, right?
Yeah.
About 76 million of them are actually on LinkedIn. I think what you're going to see is that this platform is going to become more and more the standard where people will go to learn how to be professional. I know that sounds weird, but I think the biggest thing that I've seen is kind of this big gap between I don't want to be my parents and I kind of love the fact that I'm remote and that I can work in this tech industry and I've got all these and I'm like creative and all this stuff. So what I feel like is going to happen is that I think that LinkedIn, because they're already moving toward like LinkedIn Learning and like that being a big part, is that they're going to get heavily into the education space because they see the gap. They also know people are dying off, right? And then millennials will move in and be the majority population right now, which we are. And so what I look and I say we, they keep moving the target on this.
Right, yeah,
I don't know, is it 1979 now or 88? But I think that, I think the big one is that they're going to really own education. I think, and it's funny because I know that a digital marketer, that is incredible for us because we feel like we want to own digital marketing education and we want to own education and bring that in to our customers and our clients. They want to own it in the sense of being like global. Look at how many people are on this site that come here. Now we have a responsibility because if you listen to Jeff Weiner's entire undertone and everything he's passionate about is education. Education for underprivileged and marginalized, education for people who want to up level and get different jobs. He is absolutely on the same page that companies need to be more responsible for equipping their people and they're going to come in more unskilled than they ever have. And the onus is going to be on the company to train because traditional academia is kind of dissipating. It really is. It's incredibly expensive. You're going to college. Like, why did we go to college in the first place? We went to college a long time ago because that's where the people were who knew this stuff. Now it's everywhere. There's not a lack. Like, if you want to go get your MBA, cool. You could read every book that they do. The only thing you're missing is the expertise of the people who have thousands of hours in it. Now, where else can you get that? I don't know, everywhere, right? And so I look at it going, okay, well, if they know that education's being decentralized and they want to be a leader in it, I think that having 3 billion people is an incredible opportunity and their responsibility to be thoughtful enough to create a space where that can happen. And so I know for a fact that that is what Jeff wants. He hasn't told me that personally or whispered that in my ear, but I pay attention, right? I understand his themes. I know where that's going. And I think that they're going to be one of the biggest leaders and really kind of equipping people and up-leveling people and connecting them and getting people jobs and being a part of like an economic solution more than just a professional platform where your resume lives.
Wow. That's
awesome.
It's exciting.
Yeah, man, I'm excited.
It really is exciting.
Yeah.
Well, Marcus, thank you so much
for sure.
Thank you, Marcus,
for joining us. Where can people find you? And do you have any projects that you're working on?
Yeah, I mean, always, nonstop. No, I always tell people, it used to be my Twitter account or it used to be whatever. I actually, since I joined this company, I barely look at Facebook anymore because of just how many people ask to be my friends on Facebook, like quote unquote friends. I want to connect with people on LinkedIn. And I made a commitment a long time ago. Every class that I teach, I give people, it's linkedin.com/IN/Marcus A. Murphy. That's where people find me all the time. And if you are sitting there looking at your LinkedIn page and you're like, holy crap, I don't even know where to get started, you can message me there. Connect with me there. Send me here's the little trick I'll give you that I gave my team. Don't waste your email messages. You get 300 characters when you connect with someone from their profile. So you log in and you see and this is maybe just a little like Jerry Springer final thought. I'm so sorry. But when you log in, you'll see a list of people that they say, here are your suggested people you should connect with. If you connect with them, you hit the connect button, they just disappear. That's a connection request sent. And there's really no personality there, no customization. If you're on someone's profile and you hit connect, it'll give you the option. Do you want to add a personal message, which is 300 characters? Now, be specific in there, but it gives you it lets you add a little context to why you want to connect with them. So if you're listening to this, you want to connect with me, please use that and tell me a little bit like you heard this here, that you want some help on your profile, and give me a little bit of grace, because typically I get a ton of that when it's a big influx, but I do get to everybody. I get to every message. I like looking at people's profiles because it teaches me something, and I'm happy to give them feedback. So linkedin.com/in/Marcus A. Murphy. That's where you can get me.
That's great.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Thanks, Marcus.
For sure, guys. Thanks a lot for having me.
Jenna, it was great talking with you, as always. As always.
Wonderful. The other day, Marcus looked at my LinkedIn profile. I saw that he viewed it, and I immediately went to go see what he saw and tried to fix anything that was wrong with it. I was like, oh no, he's going to know. I'm not a perfect person.
It is always interesting, when you do see, so-and-so has viewed your profile. I always go back to my profile and say, oh, do I have everything, up to the level that I want to? Yeah, exactly.
Look at my own.
Yeah. You get so self-conscious about it. You know what I hate though? I hate when you get the notification somebody has viewed your profile. You go and click, and then it still just says it's just a floating head. Just the standard somebody has viewed your profile.
Yeah,
and they block it. Yeah, everyone. It shows up for everyone else, but these premium members get to block who. It really feels kind of like spying.
Fancy schmancy.
Yeah, these fancy pants over here. I've had people reach out to me on LinkedIn, or not even reach out, but look at my profile on LinkedIn, and I say, interesting, why were they looking at my profile? Maybe they're just creeping. Maybe they just saw me and was like, oh, do I know that person? But I've actually reached out to them and said, hey, saw you checked out my profile. I'd love to set up a call and just chat about the industry. And that's happened a couple of times now.
That's cool.
And it's great. Just half-hour conversation, just pick someone's brain. And I mean, even if that's all you get out of it, if you take one little lesson that you get out of that conversation, great. Before we go, if this episode really resonated with you and you want to dive deeper into the world of LinkedIn, then listen up.
Next week, Marcus will be leading a full-day workshop on the topic of building an all-star LinkedIn profile to grow your personal brand and your business.
The easiest way to experience this workshop is to sign up for our free trial of Digital Marketer Lab Elite, where you'll not only gain access to the workshop and all of the digital marketers' training and resources, but you'll be joining the world's largest community of digital marketers.
Head over to bit.ly/Lab Elite to start your free trial today.
Yeah, I'll spell it out for you. So it's bit.ly/Lab Elite. So we'll see you there.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.